mentioned, you know, during this time, right? Like, the big elephant in the room is COVID, right? It's been what, week 8 or 9, or I have lost track of
9
time.
days. Who's counting, right?
But at this point, like, yes, this is our new normal. And so would love for you guys to touch on kind of how has COVID affected your business. And then in particular, like, I mean, I'm not a mother. Once again, I praise all of you guys for doing both family and business life, but has that strained anything in terms of like kind of bringing that back to family? Or, you know, I'm just curious to see like some of maybe those challenges that you guys have that some of our attendees can relate to.
So I think for us, it's a very interesting question about COVID, because I feel like right now COVID is the winner's circle. So I think entrepreneurs need to.
Hello?
Oh no, we lost her.
Yeah, I lost her too.
Yeah, it's frozen on my
Oh
my
no.
end as well.
What was you gonna say about the winner's circle? No, come back.
I want to be in it.
Right? I'm like, wait,
What are you talking about? Where is this winner circle at?
I can jump in from, you know, perspective with Juna. You know, being my background has been in fashion marketing for so long, and that industry has taken a huge hit and is really struggling. And what's been amazing is that with Juna, we've actually seen our best months ever.
Oh, wow.
And so with people being stuck at home and the additional stress and anxiety people are experiencing, they're turning to CBD and cannabis. And so we've had 2 of our best months ever, with sales being up 200% month over month. And so for us, there's been wins there, but also we're trying to really take this situation, what happened, to prepare for the future. And if it happens again, and what if it's, you know, where it would impact our business negatively. So making sure that we're diversifying vendors and staying on top of it, building that into our projections and sales plan. And Joel, I don't know if you have anything else to add to that, how we're preparing and how it's affected us.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely even seen a new wave of creativity, which I'm sure you all have as well, just for, you know, how to respond and what does the future look like. You know, my husband is a chef, and the hospitality industry is also getting hit really hard. And, you know, we're also we have ingestible products. And so just really thinking about the future of food and what people want. And yeah, it's been really interesting. It's been a really creative time. It's been a really incredible time to connect with our community. And I think, you know, like Taylor and I said earlier, you know, we really created Juna because we were really personally challenged with trying to do everything, you know, between like entrepreneurship and take care of our personal passions and be a wife and a chef and a mother and, you know, all the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. And I think now that everyone's at home, everyone's an entrepreneur, you know, everyone is like running their own world, and everyone is like feeling this sensory overload like never before. So for us, it's been great. And I think collectively, you know, people are looking to be more healthier and pay attention to their immunity. And in general, they're looking for alternatives to quick fix pharmaceuticals. So it's been really nice for us to engage with our community and our subscribers in a completely different way.
Yeah, I love that. I think, wait, Monique, is your internet okay? Can you talk right now? It's just curious. I think
Can you hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you, but I think your video is a little lagged.
Yeah, because our neighborhood for the last couple
turn off the video, the connection improves.
Yeah, I think it's the connection overall. So actually,
now and it's so weird.
Yeah,
so it just went out.
So could you maybe do it from your phone if that's better? Sorry guys for the technical difficulties. I think Monique, if you could try from your phone, that would be great. In the meantime, so if you do try that, let us know if that works better. Jen, would you want to maybe tackle the question a little bit in terms of, what's been like COVID and dealing with family and business?
Sure. Well, COVID in the wedding industry don't like each other.
No, it does not.
So it's luckily that we launched our company on Valentine's Day. So, and we pursue couples that are just starting to get engaged. And so all of our bookings are for next year. And so we didn't have to experience any cancellations or postponements, but we're dealing with our vendors, like trying to help them either reinvent themselves, remarket themselves, because those vendors are going to be giving us the business we need next year. So we're trying to make sure that they are okay. Us personally and our own like trajectory, like we're okay. Revenues are not like where they're going to be soon. So it's just kind of a matter of like just kind of waiting around until everyone feels safe again to start really doing this. So it's just more of like, it just feels like a waiting game for us. Like people are going to still get married and want to party and everything. So we're a party company. So that's really what it is. But for me, it's been, I think, harder on my team personally, because almost all of us have children and lots of them. So we are all homeschooling our kids, and that in addition is really complex. Like I just had to do a whole English lesson with all of my kids and then run to this thing. And then I'm going to go like do an art project with them after and then head back to work. And it's like the distance learning stuff is like still not quite figured out with the public school system. It's like they're trying to get it and it's not quite working out. So that has been very difficult as a parent, like having to balance both. And it's still something I think I'm trying to figure out. It's just still so new. And it's like, so today we're like playing around with the new schedule. Like, let's try this instead, because my meetings are in the afternoon. So it's a matter of like, I think it's okay to say like, you can't follow along with the distance learning programs that are instilled by schools. Because if we followed along with that, then I would literally not be able to do anything for work until like 1 o'clock every afternoon. And that's not practical when you have a business. So because it's a matter of like just knowing your limitations and then, being okay with, kind of marching to your own like beat of your drum and just doing it yourself if you have to.
Love it. So yeah, it's definitely making everything, work for both sides as much as possible without having to drop off any of the plates, which is just really like an incredible feat that you guys are doing. So once again, props to y'all. Maybe we can switch into the fundraising process a little bit. So maybe for each, what Taylor or Jewel, you can take this for Juna, and then Jen about the kind of your fundraising journey. Maybe Jen, if you want to kick it off since
sure,
the camera's on you.
Oh man, fundraising has been, it's been difficult for us in general. Our pitch deck is pink. It's about weddings and it's really a female focused industry. And so raising like before Republic and everything, we've raised around and stuff, but it was really difficult to kind of get it going. And so especially I was a first time founder. I've ran a small business, but I've never taken money from anyone before. So it was a lot of navigating and learning the space, how to pitch, how to speak and to investors, what they wanted to hear, what they didn't want to hear, and then realizing everybody wants to hear something different. So then crafting messages.
Very true. Attendees take note. Every investor wants something different, and it's so hard to do. Wow.
It's so hard. You have to do your research before talking to anybody. So it's like, I have to dive in, like, what is he like? How does he like to, I talk to even previous founders that he's invested in, and I figure out like, what did he tell you? And it just becomes like, I feel like there's like hours of research that goes into every pitch. And every pitch is different and it's not the same. So that was complex and took a while for me to really get a hang of it. And then we started doing it. And then also got really so much better at selecting who I'm going to pitch to, because I wasted my time so much talking to the wrong people. Yeah. So I found out that typically, old dudes wouldn't like this. So I just tried to start avoiding them. So try to find people that would really resonate with the problem we were solving. So I think once I started to really understand how to do this in a way that made sense and worked, then we started to really make some traction there. But I think it really comes down to understanding like what your business needs, who you want to work with, being selective with your time, and like not just coming at it as like, oh, I'll do anything for an investor or whatever, and having that, it's like you have something of value too. And knowing that you're not going to waste your time talking to anybody who will listen. You should be selective and really respectful of the time that you have. And just especially as a mom, we don't have a whole lot of it to begin with.
No.
So we got to be really selective, because, wasting time just takes time away from your family even more. So.
Yeah, exactly. And fundraising is a grind and takes so long. So it's
Yeah.
Taylor and Jewel, either one of you want to talk about fundraising?
I had no idea how competitive every single industry is. I think, now that I am a founder and raising money, it's just an incredibly competitive marketplace. It's also a very small world. And I would say just getting really clear on, who we're talking to and who we're pitching to is paramount.
Mm-hmm.
Fundraising as women has also been interesting, especially in an industry, in an emerging industry like cannabis and CBD, which people are still very unfamiliar with. I mean, cannabis is legal in California, but federally illegal. CBD is legal, but not so regulated. So it's been interesting. And I've learned a lot about myself, definitely. Like Jen was saying, I've had to really understand a lot more about communication and pitching. But it's been exciting. It's been great.
Awesome. Yeah. So has being a mother made you a better businesswoman? And that was another question that came through, I think like twice or three times.
Oh, I think so. Yeah. I think it totally has. I mean, there's some extra struggles that we have. Like I think when you don't have kids, you can invest all your time into your company. Yeah. And we don't have that luxury of being able to just focus solely on one project. Like we've got a million projects. We also have a home to run. And not even just taking care of your children, but there's like planning out what they're going to do the next day, trying to there's just so many factors involved with running a home and children. It's like, and your husband is typically like another child anyway, and you have to try to make sure he's got what he needs. And I think so, but I do think the fact that I already was able to multitask and also knew what my priorities were in my life, and also have a bigger thing that I'm working towards. Like I'm not just doing this because I want to try it. And I'm doing this because I have a family I want to feed and I have to feed. And I also have a family that relies on me, and like this has to work, because it would feel like a waste of time lost with my children by giving it to this and having it go nowhere. So it also has given me so much more drive to make sure this company succeeds, because I'm not going to let that be for nothing.
Yeah.
So I think that's another part about it.
Yeah, I think for me too, I mean, raising girls, I mean, I let them, I help send them the message that they can do anything and be anything that they want to be, right? And I have to eat those words a lot, And so it's been really my kids have really, really empowered me to stay clear to my vision and to really go after what I want. And I think Taylor and I talk about this a lot too. The way in which we have a relationship with our business is also really inspired by our children and the world that we really want them to live in, which is something that's very sustainable. And so, Taylor, do you have?
Awesome.
I would just say it's also made me not be ultra over organized as much as possible with planning out my weeks and my time and having to just be super efficient with my time. So if I need to map it out and I think the time that I do dedicate to work, I'm more efficient than ever since becoming a mother.
Got it. Okay. So being a mother allows you to, raise the stakes, but then also have to be multitask like crazy, and also be organized. And you're just basically gung-ho about everything because you have to be for your children, which just proves like why you should invest in mothers and in female founders.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So it's so clear, and yet that's still something that people are not fond of, at least in the VC space, which is once again mind-boggling. And yet we're doing this for that reason, to prove that, you know, mothers can in fact do it all. I will say one of the questions was also, what has been like your biggest struggle that you still haven't quite like figured out how to manage, or something that you maybe want attendees to know, that, you know, it's not all, you know, rainbows and butterflies, but there's something, one like big struggle that maybe you had either for raising your startup, that, or even just building your startup as a whole, just one big struggle that you're still trying to manage.
One big one? I mean, there's so many. I think, and it depends on what stage you are in, which is going to be your biggest struggle. I think for me in the very beginning, so I'll go to the very beginning struggles, since most of you might be in the very beginning stages. I would say as a woman and mom, trying to raise money was so difficult. I would say like it was either a cool thing or it was like a major like downfall to me, depending on who was listening. I don't know how many times I pitched a room and had people like, you have kids? How are you going to do this? Maybe you should wait. Or you need to get a CEO that's going to be able to put their time in. Are you sure you can do this? I mean, there were so many questions around my abilities and my dedication to the company because I was a mom. And that was really hard because, like, you know, trying to tell them, it's like, I've raised and sold a company. It was small, but I did that already. And I've been able to get the time and balance it. I know how to do this. And so learning to be confident in your pitch, and then also in your conversations, and letting that project without coming across as arrogant was, I think, it was a balance, and it took some practice before I was, you know, really got to feel like I deserved to be there, and I could speak with confidence and with authority, and that's how I was going to get places. And then I also learned a few times that arrogance doesn't get you very far either. So having to learn to like pare it back, and also, you know, finding the right balance on how to really speak and have these conversations with people that would automatically think that I wasn't capable of this task. I think that was the hardest thing to get over in the very beginning. But once I got over it, then a whole new slew of problems and difficult things opened up. But that was the biggest hurdle, I think, in the beginning, was, yeah, being taken seriously.
Really love that. Jewel or Taylor?
Yeah, I can go. I would say one thing I always remind myself is that we only have one boss, and it's the customer, and she can fire us at any point. So, you know, being in the weeds every day, sometimes you have your personal ties to things. If you've worked on a project or a deck or a pitch for a really long time, or a script, and you know, you put so much into it, I think it's important to be flexible and to pivot, and to, you know, to always step back and put yourself in the customer's shoes. You know, we see that we have our best sales days every time we send an email. Does that mean we should send an email every day? From a business owner perspective, sure. But from the customer perspective, no, that's annoying, and they're going to unsubscribe. So I think that's one thing too that I've learned, is to put my own opinions or bias or feelings towards projects that I've worked on, or to things aside, and always put the customer first.
Got it. And then I guess just to kind of wrap this up a little bit and then go to questions from the audience, which, by the way, you guys can put all of your questions in the chat if you have any. I guess one is, what is needed to make a crowd investing campaign successful? And then the top 3 things you wish founders knew before fundraising.
Updates.
Okay.
Constantly updating the campaign.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I would say one thing too is, you can have a great looking deck, you can have a great idea, but one thing that's paramount and super important is that you have the data and the financials and the numbers to back it up. When you go and pitch these sophisticated investors, they're going to want to see those things. So it's really important to stay organized and top of all your numbers and your data, and to really have that to support your pitch and your story and your background.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Jen?
Yeah, I think you guys are probably doing the Republic thing better than me right now. I definitely need to do more updating. So I'm going to take my pointers from you. I was more focused on our round raise before this, with institutional round. And then, but this is something that now I'm starting to focus on more since COVID's happening. Like, I got to put my time where this is right now. But what I found has been helping our crowdfunding campaign garner traction has been communication. So reaching out to people on LinkedIn was actually the biggest help for us. Is like, we reach out and tell people, go do this, because these are people already in our network, and they already like me for friends on there. So reaching out to them and then talking about this opportunity, and then also getting really personal and also commenting and complimenting them on their own successes, taking the time to really recognize other people's wins and not just your own, is a really big way to build those relationships, which that will translate right back to the customer comment that you were saying, Taylor, is like, your customer and your audience, they want to know that you care about them and don't really want to just be constantly feeding your brand. They want to be, nourished as well. So I think always putting back, like, how can I make this customer feel cared for? How can I make this investor feel like I actually want them on my team? I don't just want their cash. I want to know why, they would be a good fit, and why I think we would all work really well together. So putting the time in to really get to know the people you're asking money from is important.
Love that.